Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko, and we begin tonight with 11 votes and still no House Speaker in the nation's capital, which means hundreds of lawmakers, including those newly elected from here in Oregon and Washington, have yet to be sworn in. And amidst that apparent gridlock, our Catherine Cook talked to one Congresswoman-elect as this delay stretches into a fourth day.
The House floor remained a place of disorder and dysfunction Thursday, divided over who should be the next Speaker of the House. For Congresswoman-elect Andrea Salinas, all she could do was laugh.
Many of us were saying, we don't really officially have a job yet.
She also laughed Wednesday.
We're not getting paid yet.
And Tuesday.
I'm like, this is my volunteer job. There were just lots of jokes on the floor about stuff like that.
3 days and 11 failed votes later, there's only so much levity in a situation that grows more serious by the day. Despite numerous concessions, Republican leader Kevin McCarthy has failed to sway a group of far-right Republicans blocking him from the leadership role.
My vote does not get Kevin McCarthy the speakership. I am a no on Kevin.
Political insiders suggest a promising deal is close.
We're all working together to find a solution.
But after 3 days of similar reports, few Democrats are holding their breath.
What is the most frustrating part about this for you?
I feel like we are letting down the people across the U.S. who really do expect us to start to dive into the important issues. So, for instance, in my district, it's the Farm Bill reauthorization. I think we don't have our committee assignments. We don't know where we'll be serving.
Salinas is one of 3 freshman legislators from Oregon waiting to be sworn in. That can't happen until the House chooses its next speaker. Same boat for Congresswoman-elect Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez. In a statement to KGW, she said, "I came to Congress to get things done for Southwest Washington. I'm here to pass a right to repair bill, cut red tape for small businesses, and deliver results for working families. Every day the House goes without a speaker is a day Southwest Washington goes without the representation it deserves." 3 days in and no clear path in sight, the wait continues for leadership. For Salinas, there's always Friday.
My hope is to be sworn in. That's been my hope every day. So I'm no longer Congresswoman-elect, and I'm Congresswoman, and we can get rolling here.
So how long is this going to take? Well, after today's loss, McCarthy talked about the lengthy voting process, saying, quote, "I'm not putting any timeline on it." By the way, we reached out to Oregon's 2 Republican representatives, Lori Chavez-DeRemer of Happy Valley and Cliff Bentz of Ontario, but neither were available. Both voted for Kevin McCarthy. David.
Which all just makes you wonder how long this is going to stretch on. Friday, we'll see. Thanks, Catherine. Let's bring you an update tonight on the person accused of setting fire to a historic downtown Portland church. They made their first court appearance. Nicolette Storr, who identifies as female, is charged with both arson and burglary and will remain in jail until her next hearing. The district attorney's office says she admitted to using a lighter to set the fire and said voices in her head told her to do it. The DA added the suspect also has a history of opioid use and schizophrenia. The building at Southwest 10th and Clay, which had been vacant for a while, was the former home of the Portland Korean Church. It is now slated to be torn down starting tomorrow morning. New information tonight on that gruesome attack at a Mack stop in Gresham, with so many people trying to make sense of the horror. Again, the details here are disturbing. Tonight, KGW has learned the identity of the senior who had an ear and parts of his face chewed off during that assault. The victim's name is Gary Wayne Crusoe. Court documents say the 78-year-old was attacked at the Cleveland Avenue stop early Tuesday morning by 25-year-old Corin Kramer. Police say Kramer was high and drunk at the time and thought Crusoe was a robot. We talked to a former roommate of the victim.
I'm really shocked and surprised. I'm so sorry for Gary, and I'd hate to have that to happen to anybody.
His friend says he suspects Crusoe was at the Mack stop at 2 a.m. because he'd recently been evicted from a house in Hillsborough. Now, Crusoe had been living there after serving prison time for sex crimes involving a child. At last check, he was in stable condition. The suspect is currently being held without bail.
It's obviously an emotional time for the family, seeing the defendant for the first time. This is the beginning of the criminal justice system, and the family will be here for the long haul.
However long it takes. That is the lawyer for the family of one of the 4 college students murdered in the moments before the suspect went before a judge in Idaho for the very first time. Brian Koberger is accused of killing Kaylee Gonsalves and 3 other students at the University of Idaho in November. And tonight, newly released court documents reveal how investigators zeroed in on Kohberger. They include disturbing details that one of the surviving roommates told police she came face to face with the killer moments after her friends were murdered. Our Kylie Boshi has more.
DNA was the final link to Brian Kohberger. According to the probable cause affidavit, officers found a leather sheath next to 2 of the victims who'd been stabbed to death. On December 27th, officers in Pennsylvania went through the trash at Kohberger's parents' house, and it matched the DNA on the sheath. There was also the white Hyundai that was immediately a clue. Court documents show neighborhood cameras spotted the car moments before the murders and then captured it speeding away. Investigators detail how multiple cameras pinpoint Kohberger driving back to the Washington State University campus where he lived. He was a PhD student studying criminal justice. 4 people died inside the house in Moscow, but 2 roommates were also there when the murders happened around 4:15 in the morning. One of the roommates described how she opened her door when she thought she heard crying. Then she says she heard a man's voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." When she opened her door again, that's when the killer walked right past her. She told officers he was wearing black clothing and a mask. She says she froze, then locked herself in a room. The big question that remains is why. So far, investigators haven't released a motive for the killings. Court documents don't explain a connection between the victims and Kohberger, but it appears he was targeting their house. Authorities were able to use cell phone data to determine that he was near the home at least 12 times before the murders. On all but one of those occasions, it was late at night or early in the morning hours. Kyle Boshi, KGW News.
Just the tip of the iceberg there. Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines. Construction will close Interstate 84 in both directions at the I-205 interchange this weekend. This begins at 10 p.m. Friday night and runs until 4 in the morning on Sunday. So all of Saturday there, drivers in both directions will be routed onto 205 through the Gateway Green area. This is part of a TriMet project that includes building more tracks and a red line station platform near the Gateway Transit Center. A teacher in the Evergreen School District has been arrested, accused of sending an inappropriate text to a student. Shelley Leatherwood is a teacher at Mountain View High School. Police say they received a report that a student said Leatherwood had texted a nude photo. The district has notified parents and has placed the teacher on leave. And police need your help finding a trio of Christmas Eve thieves. The suspects were recorded on surveillance video at the Lafayette School Antique Mall that's right outside of McMinnville. They're accused of breaking into a locked case and stealing over $5,000 worth of jewelry.
He took a lot of sterling silver, a lot of turquoise, anything that looked like it sparkled. But he took the rack and all. So, I mean, that's food off my table.
Police are also searching for a 2006 to 08 Toyota Sienna minivan they believe is connected to those suspects. You're watching KGW.